Here we go.
Welcome to another episode.
Hello and welcome to another episode of our zany life.
It is a zany life.
Well, it's a big life in a small town.
It's
What
a
do
big
we call it?
Yes.
Living well together.
Right.
Because the sign's not up yet.
It's not up, but it is going to be amazing. It looks so good.
We'll never have to remember again. It'll be on the wall.
It'll be on the wall. I hope everybody likes it. I'm really excited. I've been doing all these little things. We got our swag ordered.
Oh, yeah. Guests in the future are going to have some options for swag? Or will they just, everybody will get all of it?
Everybody will get
It's like 6 things.
yeah.
Wow. It is good to be a guest on this
I
show.
know, we really appreciate our guests. That's why.
And don't mention the all-inclusive trip to Hawaii. You get a trip.
Careful,
you get a
babe.
trip.
It'll be like, hey, you said. Somebody just said recently people will sue over anything.
Well, that's because we have too many, well, never mind.
Toxic people.
Toxic people in our country.
Toxic people in our country.
In our world.
Which leads us to today's topic.
What is it?
It's a low tox lifestyle.
Living low tox.
Living low tox.
Living la vida low tox.
But I want to start with one question.
Okay.
Do you know the difference between non-toxic
Okay.
and toxin-free?
No. You're going to have to help
For
me
reals?
out. Yeah, for reals.
Okay. So non-toxic
I got
is
a
a
hunch,
term that they use, and it can apply to anything as long as it hasn't killed 50% of the people. For real. And toxin-free is without toxins. So when you're looking for brands and looking for solutions to personal care, cleaning products, just make sure that you're looking for something that's toxin-free.
See, and I'm going to beg to
Not
differ. I think there's no
non-toxic.
such thing as toxin-free.
And that's why we have shifted to a low tox lifestyle.
Right, because what's toxic to one person may not be toxic to the next
And that's
person.
true too. When I'm thinking about in the environment or the things that we use in, on, and around us, though.
Sure, but some people can breathe pollen and some people can't.
That's true.
Some
but
people can eat strawberries.
I'm talking about chemicals that we use in our environment
Oh, you're day to day.
day to day.
Okay.
I'm not talking about pollen. I'm not talking about those kind of.
So non-toxic means it hasn't killed half the people it was tested on?
Exactly.
That's it.
That's it.
So bad for the other half of those people, though. Oh
I mean,
my gosh.
It's the way greenwashing happens, though. It's such a
Wait a
generalization.
minute, hold on. Greenwashing.
Greenwashing.
I'm asking. You're going to toss it out. I'm just
okay.
going to hit it like a softball.
So what is greenwashing?
I'm asking.
Oh, you're asking me?
That's right.
Okay, so greenwashing is the way companies and manufacturers market to us to make something seem safe that really isn't.
Wait a minute. You mean there are people who are actually doing things in marketing world that may not be 100% truthful or with integrity?
Yes.
Oh, no.
I know you're so surprised by this, babe.
Say it ain't so.
And I don't want to badmouth the FDA, but
Why
they
not?
are the ones that approve these things that are the ingredients that are in these quote unquote safe, non-toxic products.
I've always been fascinated by the fact that there's a federal organization or a federal agency, or I don't even know if it's a governmental agency or whatever, but they get to dictate our food and our drugs. It's the Food
Together.
and Drugs Administration. I would think those people would be on different chairs. Like, yeah, let's see how it looks. I
Because
don't know.
they've combined, oops, sorry, Graham. They've combined their drugs into our foods.
Oh, this is going to
I
take
know.
a deep,
And we
dark
weren't going to
dive.
go to controversial.
No. So let's not.
Okay.
Let's stick with toxin-free versus non-toxic versus
Low tox.
low tox versus who
Right.
can tolerate what.
Yeah. Well, and some of the
How do you get so good at all this? Why do you know all these things? Because you know a lot of things about this stuff. How did you get
For
this
one
way?
thing, I enjoy it because I've seen what it can do from an endocrine perspective to my own body.
And when you say
But
endocrine, just for people who might not
Hormones,
understand.
my hormones.
Yeah.
Yep. But my mom is the pioneer for me.
Okay.
She has, even at 82,
Yeah.
she has her own organic lawn care company. And she's had it for 30 years, I think. 35
almost as
years?
long as you. Yeah, it's a long time.
She started it right after we got married, I think.
Yeah, but why did she start it?
She started it because one of her dogs got sick from the chemicals in the
The lawn care treatment.
lawn care treatment.
Yeah.
And so she knew that there was a better way, and she started researching and putting it all together, and then created her own business that's still going strong today.
She's 82 years old, and
She
she hoists these 40-pound bags of organic matter that she takes to customers and still delivers it personally, which blows my mind.
she is an inspiration to me. I
I
mean,
was going to say
she's
that, but yeah, she's an inspiration.
well, I'll say inspiration. You use your own language. I don't mind, because she is that too. I mean, it's
Yeah.
amazing what she's done. I call her the OG organic. She would buy. Okay, so back in the day. So let's start today. Today we can have organic apples that are actually pretty.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
they look just like the other ones.
but think back to when she was a child. There was no such thing as organic apples.
They were
Actually,
all
when we were
organic.
children, there was no such thing as organic apples because everything was
Yes,
organic.
right.
Right? There's some of the chemistry that we're tolerating today hadn't even been invented yet.
No.
Genetic modification of seeds and food, genetic modification of soil. I mean, there's a lot of things that we've seen develop in our lifetime. And none of it, right? None of it
Exactly.
as she was growing up.
So she bought us ugly apples.
Yeah. And they are. Organic food used to be like the ugly cousins of other
It did,
food.
but it's not anymore. And it does make me wonder, that some of the stuff that they put on organic apples even now, appeal, is that
Yeah,
what it's
there's a
called?
thing called a peel. Yeah.
So beware of that. I know that that's something that you can see on the label.
Yeah. It's like
But
they're
even
hiding it in plain sight.
They are. Even at Whole Foods, you have to be careful. I didn't realize.
Yeah. Are we allowed? We can say anything we want for brands and locations and corporations.
We're asking we're asking Graham.
Graham's our producer, but he's also our legal counsel.
No, he said that's a hard
He's giving us
pass.
this. But most people are becoming aware of the fact that there is a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And now sometimes people become aware and they don't care. And then sometimes
That's
people
true.
become aware
They
and
say
wanna
there's no difference.
or they want to seek some change.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's become really quite in vogue in the last 3 years is to say follow the science, and then you have to say, well, which science?
But
Because
yeah.
scientists can be bought just like politicians can be bought.
if you guys want to follow somebody who tells the truth, follow Joseph Mercola. Dr.
and you can
Mercola
always
is
tell who's
amazing.
telling the truth because
Yeah.
they usually get canceled.
He's been canceled. You can find him on Substack.
Yeah, you can always tell who's burping out some truth because they just tend to get squashed or sued or
Yeah.
whitewashed somehow.
Yeah, they definitely tried to get rid of him, but he's there.
Maybe
now.
we'll be on that list someday. We can only hope.
Aspirations.
Yeah, gotta have goals.
So anyway, so mom was the one.
Right.
She started this, and so we've just kind of picked up where she's still very aware of the things that she uses on and around herself too. And then we've just kind of turned it into a different type of a business for us.
And I think everybody can understand that drinking or eating something that's poisonous or
True.
toxic is a bad idea. I don't think that most people think about what they put on their skin.
I know.
Or their shampoo.
Yes.
Or their clothing.
Or their laundry detergent.
Yeah, all of it. And so here's the thing about skin. It is like the body's biggest organ.
It is.
It is super absorbent.
They say between 26 seconds and a minute, if you're rubbing something on you, it's in your bloodstream. Depends on the molecular structure of it and whether or not, the size of the molecules of the products, but pretty much it goes in there. And
I love it when you get really kind of sciencey.
Oh yeah, right. I need my little glasses.
Molecular structures.
So, but think about nicotine patches,
Right.
hormone patches.
If I can put a patch on my skin to quit
Yes.
smoking, if I can put a patch on my skin to not get pregnant,
Right.
that means my skin is absorbing this into my physiology
100%.
and it is changing my body physiology on purpose.
And people get that. They understand, but they don't think about the same things happening with the lotions that they're putting on. them,
Lotions,
or body
shampoos.
sprays.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that body spray stuff. I was at the gym last week and this fella who's probably 25, 30 years old is just dousing himself in this body spray.
no.
It's like, bro, take a shower. You'll smell
it's so
better
much
clean
better.
than you will with this lady stuff.
So one of the things that we've shifted in the office, even because we know the sensitivity to fragrances. Fragrances is one of the biggest offenders when it comes to hormonal imbalances that will affect like women that have PCOS, menopause, premenopause, any hormone issues that you can think of, fertility.
Anything that
And-
suppresses or stimulates endocrine imbalance also will facilitate immune imbalance. In other
that's
words,
true.
it throws the body into a toxic or a fight or flight based chemistry,
Right.
which is immediate immune suppression, which means your ability to fight off the germs and disease in the world is
Yeah.
automatically
I
suppressed.
remember when the girls were little, and they tease me about this all the time. Like, I would not even let them walk past the candle aisle.
Oh, that store. There used to be a store when we would go to the mall.
We would be on the
candle
other
store.
side of the mall, but at Target or wherever we were, it was like, we're not going down the aisle with the candles. There was something just innately, and I didn't know how bad fragrance was at that time, but the phthalates and all the things that are in there. But just, like, I could just tell that it didn't make me feel good. I would get an immediate headache.
And
So
the
I
thing
don't
that
know if
gives you a
anybody-
headache is
yeah.
your body's alarm system going off that
It
says,
did feel
"Don't
like
do
an
that."
alarm.
Right.
And so we never had the things in our car. We never had the little
Glade plug-ins.
plug-ins. I mean, they're all horrible for
And
you.
this is not to hurt your feelings. If you're
It's
a
not
big
to hurt
fan
your
of
feelings.
candles and Glade plug-ins,
There
we don't
are
wanna-
safe options for.
Well, you need options though.
You need options.
Those are not safe things.
Those are not safe things.
So give me like your top 3 or 4 or 5, like when you're looking at labels, there's going to be several batches or several different kinds of chemistry that you'll say that's a hard no. Give me your top 5 maybe.
The simplest one is just to look for fragrance or perfume.
So the word fragrance means
It's a hard no.
it should have like the skull and crossbones thing.
It really should. It
Yeah.
really, really should. That's a big greenwash.
Well, it is. And
Yeah.
the other thing, and I think this is important to remember too, like cigarettes have a label on them that say, don't do this, it's bad for you. And people still do it, right? Like it's a huge industry. So we'll make these kind of suggestions for you, and you may decide, well, I like my, cinnamon colored, flavored, smelling candle, body spray, whatever. You
And
may
we
just
can-
say, those
yeah.
guys are idiots. Well, we're willing to be idiots because we've
Yeah.
done the homework.
Well, one of the easiest ways, if you like cinnamon, one of the easiest ways to make your house smell like cinnamon is boil a cinnamon stick on the stove with a little bit of water in it. It smells delightful.
I interrupted your thing. So
I can't remember.
fragrance, top 5.
Top 5. So yeah, the fragrance is a big one, and it's easy to identify. But there are still products that use parabens, and parabens is a huge one. And the reason being is 99% of breast tumors have parabens in them. So women are rubbing this all over their bodies, and it's feeding the tumors.
What's PABA? If I see PABA, isn't there a thing called PABA that could be on in my lotion? PABBA or PABA? PABA.
That's
Different thing?
probably totally different thing. It's parabens or methyl parabens, anything that ends in paraben.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. And so that's easy to recognize as well. And that's a huge one. Thankfully, we're not seeing it as much anymore, but weirdly in some of the higher end products, it's still there.
Okay. There's 2, right?
Yep.
So
And
got
then-
fragrance, parabens. What else am I going to avoid if I'm looking at labels?
So one of the things that anything with a colorant in it, an
Artificial color.
colorant.
So the word
lake
artificial
dyes.
is a huge tip off. If it says artificial color, artificial flavor, artificial sweetener, the
of
word
those.
artificial is like a huge tip off,
It is.
right?
Right.
For anything,
Right.
whether that's food, drink, or lotion, or dye. I mean, there's a lot of things. Real people should do real stuff.
Yeah.
Artificial is not for real people.
EDTA is a big one. And it's almost like a formaldehyde precursor,
Okay.
I believe.
What's formaldehyde used for primarily?
Embalming bodies.
Yeah, preservation of fluids and tissue
Yeah.
in an unalive state.
So dryer sheets are a huge offender when it comes to formaldehyde.
they're so cuddly, so soft.
And it makes your clothes smell good.
Yeah.
But the challenge with that is your clothes are rubbing against you all day long. That formaldehyde.
If it goes on, it goes in.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Now, couldn't people see
Yeah.
that as a preservation technique, though? Like, I don't want to get old, so I'm just going to bathe myself in dryer sheets.
well, yeah, I mean, you can do it the way you want
These
to.
wrinkles will come right out.
No, I mean, there's so many. And we actually have a toxin-free master list that includes a banished ingredients list. So if anybody would like access to that, that's all you need to do is reach out to us.
One of the things that we'll do, and we haven't, this podcasting project has tipped off like 32 other things that
yeah.
we know we need to do. But like creating a free list or a free guide. Where can we go? And is there a website? And how about our Facebook page? And so all that stuff is kind of in the works. It'll come.
I have a
Much of it
couple
is
of the
already
guys.
accumulated.
Yeah. But like this guide, I mean, this is available immediately if
Okay.
somebody wanted it. And it includes, some other options, some safe water options and laundry detergent, deodorant. One of the things we talked about that.
Is there a way? Can we put links? Like, is there a way to click on links? I always hear people say, "Click on the link," and I'm like, "How does the link appear?
Yeah.
How do you get?"
We're still learning. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. One of us is way advanced. One of us is way advanced, and one of us knows very little.
Well, we're just all just playing. I was just looking at the banished ingredient list. There's probably, there's 80,000 chemicals that have been approved in our country, and
For food and for personal care products
yeah,
that are not approved where?
right. Well, so in Europe, there's only like 30 that would be approved, but here in the United States, there's over 1,500. So you have to be aware of them, and you can't look at a bottle and think it's safe. You have got to learn to be able to pull out some of those more difficult
Wait a
ingredients.
minute. You're telling me that there is an administration that monitors our food and then sells us drugs that are approved. Oh, okay. Well, I just wanted to be clear on that.
So this list has about, I don't know, I'm going to say 75, but there's so many more that aren't listed or they're in subcategories, but these are the ones that you'd find more often.
Okay, so we've got parabens, we've got fragrance, we've got, what was the next one that we just talked about?
Propylene glycol is a big one that'll show up on a lot of things. So definitely, isn't that like
Antifreeze, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you definitely
antifreeze.
don't want to rub that all over you.
Propylene glycol is what kills the animals that suck up your antifreeze off the ground, right? What are phthalates? Is there such a thing as phthalates?
Yeah, phthalates is the chemical that produces fragrance usually. That's the
So
dangerous
fragrance
thing.
equals phthalate?
Yes, pretty much. But it can house 3,000 different ingredients. It's a loophole. So they just have to put fragrance, and they can put whatever they want and call it proprietary.
What's the movie that we watched? There was a documentary that we
Toxic
watched.
Beauty?
Yes. Yeah, Toxic Beauty. Should we encourage people to watch that?
Yes, it's a good place to start.
Where do you find it?
I think you can
Netflix?
find it on Netflix. Yeah.
Toxic Beauty. Smart. Don't expect to be like uplifted and overjoyed. It's kind of a depressing.
But they've done it in a way that tells a story, and I think those are the most impactful.
Okay. Yeah, I won't disagree. And I had popped in here. You were hosting an evening for a bunch of women in here in the
It was
office.
so fun.
And I popped in like it was ladies' night. I didn't want to be invading your space, but I got to kind of pop in halfway through this documentary, and I was angry. Like,
Yeah.
between the government allowing certain things and litigation that has to happen, none of this chemistry comes off the list until people have died and
Right.
somebody sues, and
Exactly.
then they get through the hoops. And,
Yeah.
and the government has very deep pockets when it comes to not letting people through the hoops.
Do you remember what the ingredient is that they focused on in that movie?
Baby powder, I think.
Talc.
Talc, yeah.
Talc. So that shows up in a lot of especially for beauty products. So your colored cosmetics like foundations and powders and blush.
So anything with
eyeshadows
talc?
is a hard no. It is implicated in ovarian cancer.
Okay.
And there's been
Yeah, but we
lawsuits
can't
against
prove
that.
it.
Yeah. But you know what? Now, J&J has stopped using talc in some of their baby products. They've gone to cornstarch and things like that.
Mean something safer?
Something safer. After all these years, after so many women have died.
Yeah. So when you scratch the surface of some of this stuff, the economics, the marketing,
Oh my gosh, all of it.
profitability, the greed that comes connected to some of those things. It's always so funny. People will say how bad capitalism is. Well, capitalism is not the problem. Capitalism is the gift that has changed the world for people in so many ways. Greed is the problem.
Yeah.
You know? And so when these companies are willing to ignore the science or ignore what they know to be toxic, like they knew cigarettes were toxic way before they said, "Oh, have at it." I have copies of advertising from like the 50s and 60s where your medical doctor was suggesting, try Camels, or a pregnant lady saying, "Hey, the Lucky Strikes are for me because they help me relax. My doctor says it's okay." So what used to be smart and what used to
The
be
sugar too. Have you
What?
seen the ones with the sugar?
Oh,
There was a
give
way
it.
to lose weight.
Oh no.
This was like from the 50s, and you know how tiny those women's waists were, and they were so cute. But they were encouraging women to eat sugar for the energy
Yeah.
so
Or
that they
have a
could lose
cola.
weight.
Have a Coca-Cola.
Oh, and that
you
would be
know,
sugar
for you,
and
right.
some caffeine and who knows what else.
I think
It was
used to
better
have
then.
actual cocaine in it.
Yeah,
But yeah, so marketing people rule the world. Marketing
they really
people
do.
are the reason we buy any and everything we buy as consumers for the most part. And so again, their job is sales and predictability and profitability. It has nothing to do, nothing whatever to do with what's best for human health or what's best for the population at large. And I think it's fair to say over the course of the last 50 years, and the stats will bear this out. As a nation, we have gotten fatter, we've gotten sicker, we've gotten slower than any other country in the world.
Right.
We're 5% of the globe, 5% of the global population here in the U.S., and we consume 75% of the world's prescription medication.
Which is crazy to me.
Well, but the reality is we're polluting ourselves in a way. And again, we've got the same people telling us what we can eat and how it should be grown. And then they sell us the solution that may or may not be the solution, but it, man alive, it generates trillions of dollars of revenue.
Okay, so we have a little bit of a different philosophy about this, and I'm totally generalizing here.
Okay.
But I think much of health restoration is about taking things out.
What do you mean? Give me an example.
Take out subluxation.
Well,
Nope,
yeah,
moving.
great idea.
Yeah. Take out traumas,
Okay.
emotional traumas,
Yeah,
and take out the toxins.
100% true.
Yeah.
We'll get to the disagreement part.
Oh.
Why would we not agree about
We were
that?
we were talking about adding in instead of taking out. So
Oh,
I just wanted to reform.
No, everything you
I
said just now is 100% true. The body's
Yeah.
better without subluxation. It's better with a clear, healthy, balanced nerve system.
Exactly.
The body is better without toxic things. 100% true. But when you talk about human behavior and lifestyle management, I am not a fan of subtracting. I'm not a fan of taking things out first. I am a fan of adding things.
You
first.
are. I know.
And
Yes.
so, and again, that's just the psychology for people. It's much, much easier for me to say, add this apple. And then if you still want that chocolate cake, go ahead and have it. If I tell you you can't have chocolate cake, the first thing you're going to want is chocolate cake.
chocolate cake.
And we were talking about this with our producer. He was kind of validating my thought on this. But at the end of the day, people are always going to see a subtraction from their life as deprivation. If I tell you what you can't have, you automatically, psychologically want it more. And so that's why I'm going to say, if you want the Diet Coke, which is pollution, it's pure poison, it has no nutritional value, but I like it so much and it's so tasty. And so if you want it, I'll say have as much as you want, but you can't have it until you've had an equivalent amount of clean water first.
See, I can't wait to like talk about food things too, because my biggest soapbox has always been aspartame and artificial sweeteners.
Oh, it's a disease maker.
It is,
And
a
again, most
disease
countries
maker.
around the world don't let it into their food supply.
They do not.
And for us, it is large.
Here's
business.
somebody else. If you're interested in that specifically in regards to the food chain and what the United States allows in compared to other countries, follow Food Babe. She has side-by-side comparisons of UK's cornflakes and our cornflakes or
yeah.
Fruit
Oh,
Loops.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. And so just check her out. She's awesome. I learned so much from her.
The chemistry and the products that most of the countries around the world allow, and the chemistry that we allow here in the U.S. is very, very different. In
Very,
many,
very
many
different.
cases.
Yeah.
And you know, when you look at the way the body's engineered to work, it is engineered to process food. It is engineered to process the things that come from a garden. If you're a fan of the biblical, you know, the way things go from a biblical worldview, Adam and Eve lived in the garden.
Right.
And all their needs were met there. And then there's this whole story. In fact, if you want to talk about ill health all started with one bad food choice.
But it was an apple.
Right. Well, they used the apple. It said that it's the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. But yeah, God said you could have anything in this whole place, just don't eat that one thing. And the deprivation, he said, don't eat it.
It's
And
like,
what
oh
did
my
do?
gosh, they fixated.
They ate it. And so it's been downhill for the rest of us ever since.
Oh my gosh, that's
there was no death. There was no. You have to
know.
wear clothes.
I
Imagine that. Although I have to admit, I think the overwhelming majority of the population looks way better with clothes on.
Right now,
I'm going
that's
there.
probably true.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I did want to touch on, though, is my personal experience with toxic products.
Okay.
So for 2 years, when you know this very well.
I know where you're going.
Yeah. I was dealing with menopausal symptoms, all the traditional ones, the hot flashes, the night sweats, the mood swings, the don't touch me, the all of it. And we were doing everything. I was doing nutrients, special nutrients for hormones. You're adjusting me. We were, changing our lifestyle a little bit, and nothing was changing as far as my symptoms went. But I was very brand loyal. I won't name the brand, but I was very brand loyal for a company that I worked for 30 years ago, and I'd been with them for that much time. I thought it was a safe brand. I thought it was the safest one in the department store because of what the saleswomen wore. Once I found the clean beauty products that I use currently, I switched out every single product,
Okay.
only was using the clean beauty products. And 2 weeks later, all of those symptoms stopped. So that was my experience. And that's why I really felt compelled to share this with other women, no matter what their ages, and just educate on the importance of a low tox lifestyle.
I'm going to say at all ages, because we've got
for sure.
little girls. I've got
know.
people in the
Yeah.
practice that and their daughters want to put on their lipstick. They're 2 years old
I know.
and they
Yeah.
want to look like mommy and they want red cheeks or red lips or whatever. So it does at every age it matters.
At every age, it matters. And
Developing hormone systems are just going to be polluted by what if nobody changes
we're
it.
doing.
If you like what we're doing, subscribe and then leave us a sweet review.
please.
Phone a buddy, bring a friend. Yeah. Should we just say, see you later?
See you later.
See you later.
Bye.
Well, if you like what you're doing, what we're doing, if you like what you hear or see or witness, I'm going to suggest you go to our YouTube page, our